you get a car, what is like your content plan? Is it to make a YouTube video? Is it to do TikTok? Is it what do you do when you get a car dropped off?
I literally, they drop it off. The first day, I'll just run my normal everyday errands in that vehicle. And that's like the first day or two. And that's kind of like how I kind of get acquainted with it. Most car, I mean, Kyle, like once you've driven a lot of cars, it's pretty quick turnaround in terms of getting to know a vehicle. Like,
like 10 minutes, you're good.
Yeah. You don't need much time. But sometimes within those 2 days, there will be like a little detail or a little feature that the car has that maybe enhances the way I interact with it, or maybe it completely takes away from how I interact with it. So I love to find those things, because if there's a feature that, let's say, other cars have, but this one implements it the best, or whatever. But my whole goal is because it's 60 seconds, so I can't give like a full.
What about those 3-minute TikToks? Do you ever do those?
They just don't do well.
Yeah, that's what I found.
On social media. Because the whole thing is like with YouTube, right? The biggest difference is someone goes on YouTube and they type in Mustang Mach-E. So that means they are looking for that car and they're looking for that content. And they probably already know a little bit about the vehicle, and it's probably something they're considering, and it's on their list of things to buy, or maybe they just want to know what it's like. So they're looking at your video in they're looking for that detail and information.
Yeah, like if I post an hour-long video, it will significantly outperform a 59-minute video.
Oh, yeah, dude. Especially because like the way your videos are structured too, and people that know your videos, like that to them, that means more detail.
Yep.
It's the opposite.
TikTok is the opposite.
Complete opposite. So with me, the shorter I can make it, the better. But the big trick is if it goes shorter, I have to get the meat and potatoes of the car, and I have to just keep simmering it down and simmering it down and simmering it down until I can somehow get across the main highlights and the main aspects of the vehicle in the most efficient way possible. So sometimes, like when I'm doing my takes, if I have like 1 or 2 words, like if I say "and" like 3 times, I'll cut out an "and," or like I'll cut out like a 3-word sentence and try to get those 3 words and sum it up into 1 word.
Wow.
Like it's literally that compressed. And so now it's funny because I just stuck with the name Forrest Auto Reviews because that's what I've been since I was on YouTube, right? But it's not even like reviews anymore. It's more like the best way I can explain it now is it's like me doing just quick overviews of cars.
So why not? So I guess, how do you quantify the value of a TikTok view versus a YouTube view? It's still a person watching a video about a car that could be anyone who's using a device.
Yeah.
So and the views on TikTok, look, we got on TikTok and like sporadically used it, but went from like 0 to 100,000 followers in like way fast. Obviously, we don't have any YouTube channels with 100,000 followers. So it just was way bigger numbers for us so much more quickly. But are they as valuable as YouTube numbers? What do you think?
It depends. Yes and no. So I think YouTube, if you had a video that did like 500,000, you probably have a bigger percentage of people. Like, let's say you had 500,000 views on a Mach-E GT, right? And there's probably a bigger percentage of that 500,000 that if the review is positive, you've probably just secured them buying a Mach-E GT.
Agreed.
But with TikTok, you have way more exposure, right? So, like, okay, example, dude, I just did the Grand Wagoneer, and it's at 7 million views.
Yep. No one didn't see that.
It's ridiculous, right? And so even though you won't have 10 million of those people buying a Grand Wagoneer, I would still say the percentage of people that may have bought a Wagoneer is probably like the amount of people is probably still close to what a 500,000 video that saw like 50% people buy a car. Just it's just all a numbers game. You just see more exposure, right? But the biggest benefit with more exposure is you can push more people to YouTube, right?
So yeah, I mean, my whole thing is if a view's a view, that's a person seeing the car going through. I count it. I think it's all people, kids. You know, maybe if TikTok is a younger overall audience than YouTube, probably not by much, but I'm sure there is. But kids influence buying decisions massively. They'll go, "Mom, I saw Forrest Grand Wagoneer video. It had the flags the right way. It had all the stuff going on." And you know what? That's a cool car. Maybe then she'll go, "Oh, I'll go check out a YouTube video." And so to me, a view's a view, no matter who's watching it, no matter how long the content is. And for us, that mindset has shifted into us making 3 TikToks a day now. In addition to the YouTube stuff, because maybe we're not as polished as, definitely not as polished as you on TikTok, but more so than I would say your average other car reviewer there. And for us, we can get a 30 to 60-second video out, and then maybe like if a 0.5% of the people ever click through and look at our YouTube channel, that's a win.
Yeah. So here's my biggest tip with TikTok. Never follow any trends unless you are a content creator who you do like trendy stuff, which we are not that.
Nope.
Right?
I've never tried it.
I never do anything related to trends. I just do my thing. You do your thing and you do it the way that only you can do it. And then
You think
people love
hashtags
that.
make a difference?
Yeah, people love that because there's only one me in the world. There's only so like I would like no one can review a car the way, or no one could go over a car the way I would go over a car because I'm Forrest, right?
Yep.
I can't talk about an EV the way you would talk about an EV because you're Kyle.
Right.
And you're crazy when you talk about these EVs sometimes because I'm just like, dude, how is he regurgitating all this information? So like that's just such a unique thing to you, and no one else can replicate that. So just be unapologetically like yourself. And when you make the TikTok videos, you're not aiming to like don't create it as if you're aiming to a younger crowd, because you will be surprised at how many older people, like so many, and like families and stuff are on there. It's crazy. So my biggest thing is just when you make your video, when you watch it back, if there's any moment of the video that you find to be like boring, or if you find yourself like thinking about anything else, cut it out.
That's a great tip.
So just make your video just entertaining all the way through, which in theory should be easy because they're a minute long versus making an hour-long video. You know what I mean?
That's a really good tip. What do you? So
True.
here's what we're doing, and not to derail. I know we're already at an hour, but we take a TikTok, then we save that TikTok, throw it on Snapchat, Spotlight, YouTube Short, and Instagram Reel. Do you do that?
Sometimes I try not to, but I found what does best is this does require a little bit more work. But if you can make exclusive content for each platform, dude.
So what's the difference though? Because we can get the non-watermarked version, right? So we download through Snaptick or one of these things, the non-watermark looks like it's made there. What would be different about content for YouTube Shorts versus Snapchat, Spotlight versus some TikToks? Do you think?
I'd say just different aspects of the car, different features of the car, or like I don't know, man. It's tough because they're all kind of similar. I don't do YouTube Shorts at all because I just don't think it does well on the YouTube platform. I think YouTube really does well with like what you're doing right now. I think that's what does well on YouTube.
We have a separate Shorts channel that we just throw stuff up. Some things have like hundreds of thousands of views. We never get paid from it, but at least it's just content that people are looking at.
Yeah, you could throw up there for more exposure, but unless YouTube does something drastically different with Shorts, I don't think it's gonna like take off like Reels is taking off on Instagram. Because it can hold a little bit higher quality on the videos. Like it doesn't downgrade it as much as TikTok does, but TikTok's also getting better at that. I think with TikTok, you really just want it to be um, entertaining, but not in an entertainment sort of way, but entertaining in the sense of like, oh, I just gathered quick information from this video. That's
So, not to get super nerdy about our business, but this is my last thing because I know we're really running out of time. It's so interesting. Forrest, you and I get to talk to a lot of PR reps at automakers, but also engineers, et cetera. And we talk about TikTok all the time. I'm so curious about how they, again, this whole conversation of valuing a view. For me, it's a numbers game, right? We have a business with 20 people who work for us. I want to make sure we're, providing the best value we can to keep getting the best cars possible to produce content on. We bring up TikTok all the time. You're always the first name that comes up to every automaker's like, well, Forrest did X with our car and got this many views. And it was incredible. So, what is your relationship like in general when you receive a car, when you talk to PR about TikTok? Because you are the first, I would say, person who's really reviewing cars in some cases exclusively for TikTok, which automakers have never loaned cars for that platform before. So was this hard for you to convince them because you already had your YouTube presence? So how did this transition go for you to be like, guys, no, I just like took the new Nissan Rogue, whatever it is, and got you like 200 million views, and you would have never got anything like that on YouTube. So how did that go?
That was interesting. So yeah, it first started with a Mercedes-Benz, which Mercedes-Benz was actually the hardest to convince. It was just I happened to have a Mercedes-Benz that I filmed, and it happened to do like 2 million views on TikTok. That's what first made me say, wow, that's more than anything I've ever gotten on YouTube.
You find that Mercedes do well on TikTok? Because we find they always do over a couple million views for us.
On TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. No, sorry, what I meant was Mercedes was the hardest one
to convince.
Get them to loan me cars just for TikTok. And they have the biggest presence on TikTok. They were the first automaker with a verified account, and they have the most views on their hashtag of any automaker. And I was like, how were y'all the last ones to say, okay, we'll send you cars specifically for TikTok? It was crazy. But anyway, that rant aside, Acura was the first one to send me a vehicle just for TikTok, and it was the NSX.
No way.
Yeah,
so when you requested the car though for TikTok, obviously the fleet companies they say this is Forrest. He works with X number of outlets, but now he's just doing TikTok. Is that how that went?
Yeah. So I forgot what happened. I had a lot of people asking for the NSX on there. And I had already filmed it, but I filmed it for YouTube. So I reached out to Karina, and I was like, hey, is there any way I can get the NSX again for a loan? She's like, oh, are you just going to make more YouTube videos on that? I was like, actually, I just need it for a TikTok video. And she's like, oh. I was like, yeah. I was like, I know it's kind of like all new. I was like, but here's my numbers and here's what I've done so far. And she's like, oh, that's super interesting. She's like, sure, let's try it out. And I think the NSX did I made 2 videos on it. One did 3.2, the other did 1.5.
Wow. So they must have been thrilled.
Oh, they were like, oh, what the heck? Yeah, come Type S event. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then I think then it just, I don't know, it's interesting how it works. I really can't explain how a lot of it works. Honestly, it just kind of does. I just kind of do my thing, and then it just does well. I wish there was more of a science or more of a explanation of why it does well, but it's just
you have a great way of connecting with the audience. I'm a huge fan. I watch every video you do. I'm super into it. It's so great.